Hello, hello, hello.
Hi, Kathleen. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you, Maria?
Very well, thank you. Experience hot weather in the UK. I suspect
Gosh,
same
yeah.
thing with our customers and friends in the US. I've heard a few of our assessors and area managers decided not to join us today, basically because of high temperatures. But here we are, you and I.
We are, and it has been quite bad in Europe as well and UK, but in America too, they have extreme heat too. So it can be quite challenging at the best of times or the worst of times, or whatever you want to say. But yeah, but here we are.
Here we are. So, good morning, everyone. This is a special US session, although neither Caroline nor I will sport the appropriate accent. Apologies for that. As I say, some of our area managers have been caught in other situations. So, Caroline and I will carry out this. Session for you. This is about ISO frequently asked questions. I'm Maria Dimitrova. I'm the head of business development for IMSM, and I'm also an assessor. I focus on six different standards from 9001, which is quality management, going through IT management, information security, occupational health and safety, environmental management, as well as energy efficiency. Here I have Caroline with me. Caroline is a member of our excellent marketing team, and she is the person who works with our social media. So the fact that you can hear so many new things and learn so much about ISO and what we do to help you out, most of that work is done by Caroline herself.
I think it's teamwork, though. I mean, obviously, we have so many experts within the IMSM team that obviously, when we do our social media or our content, these are the people that we always rely on. But Maria's right. We put up as much as we can, and it's all a big teamwork. So please pop over to our social channel.
Actually, Caroline has designed something which is very interesting, and it comes as an idea based on most frequently asked questions. And that first question is always, which ISO do I need to implement? So Caroline has devised and designed these short videos you can actually find on our LinkedIn page, and each video explains a few details about a different ISO standard. Caroline, how did you come up with the idea?
Well, it actually wasn't me. It was the marketing team as a whole. But I think what actually happened was we decided not only to talk to our customers who were very happy to create testimonials, but we also thought we'll amalgamate all the most frequently asked questions and put them into bite-sized snippets in a very professional production, which we then put onto YouTube. So we like to share those on social media. It just really, really helps people. And they're bite-sized snippets, a minute long. It's I would highly recommend anybody to go over there onto our YouTube channel, imsm.tv, and take a look.
Amazing work, and this is a very good starting point. On top of that, please feel free to contact us for a quick conversation. ISO standards are complex, they may be sophisticated, but they're very logical. They adapt very well to each organization. So please don't miss the opportunity to talk to us. We'll make sure that you're well advised. We'll assess your organization. We'll advise you accordingly, so you know what's next and what could happen and how you can benefit from ISO standards. So, starting point, which ISO snippets? Please don't miss the opportunity to watch them. And they're also our corporate videos, aren't they, Caroline?
Yeah, I mean, said there are wonderful videos up on imsm.tv. And like I said, the testimonials we have from customers who have been very loyal to IMSM, who we've worked with. So multi-standards, it's really nice to actually go on and listen to what they have to say and how it worked for them as small and medium businesses.
Yeah, and taking from there, let's first talk about the ISO as an organization because people get sometimes confused between ISO standard and the ISO as an organization.
Yes.
The ISO as an organization is the International Organization for Standardization. It was created back in 1946, after 45, after six, sorry, after the war, in order to harmonize back then more technical standards. And currently there are nearly 25,000 standards, most of them technical standards, and we focus on so-called management system standards, which help organizations actually build up their resilience, their operations, improve the way they work, improve their focus with 9001 on customers, improve their uh, environmental impact with 14,001. Nowadays, 50,001 is becoming a very important standard with regards to energy efficiency. And in the US, you're very welcome to check out the US Department for Energy website, as well as the US Office for Energy Efficiency. Quite a lot of interesting information is delivered on those websites, including tips on R&D and how you can use R&D in terms of tax credits. So there are quite a lot of opportunities for organization and lots of information in those websites. So this said, ISO standards, management system standards, are a good thing to have. They are standards, but as such, actually, these are kind of sets of best practice collected by as many country members as possible when developing a standard and with the help of technical committees. So it's those are well designed and very practical. Similarly, standards are also um, designed with the help of the International Electrotechnical Commission, which makes them a huge asset to organizations. Some of those standards would be 17 or 25 or Web 3 or 27,001, which is information security. So please don't miss the opportunity to talk to us, to visit our website or the ISO website, which is iso.org, for further information. And there are quite a lot of leaflets over there, lots of information for you guys to check out and to see how we can benefit from standards. Caroline, am I missing any points with regards to the ISO organizational standards?
No, that sounds very thorough to me. That's a wealth of information there.
So, some people also, after checking out the ISO website, talking to us, talking to all the consultants, certification bodies, etc., talking to each other, uh, usually ask a very interesting question, which is, are ISO standards compulsory? So the answer by default should be no, they're not, for a very simple reason. The ISO as an organization doesn't require in any way for the ISO standards to be implemented. They should be, from the organization's point of view, voluntarily accepted, which they are. However, uh, many organizations see themselves under the obligation to implement the standards, but not because those standards have been made compulsory by the ISO as an organization, because they are either a contractual or legal requirement in the supply chain. So if you're asked to prove your conformity with an ISO standard, it is not because the organization has devised, designed, and created them. uh, to, to make it compulsory to you, but because your customers may require that your organization work and best practice rather than only
Mm.
strictly legally. In some countries, by the way, when it comes to tenders, public and private tenders, it might be a regulatory or legal requirement for you to have implemented and certified an ISO standard in order to bid for tender.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can say it. The good thing is that in some countries, as I say, you can actually uh, see what tenders would require ISO standards to be implemented and certified, and thus calculate your potential losses. In other countries, in other territories, such as the US, it's more frequently a hidden rule.
Mm.
I mean that you're not required to have the standards, but when it comes to the final consideration, more credits given to those organizations that have the ISO standards implemented and or certified as well. So it makes it more difficult for US-based companies to calculate, to consider the potential loss from not having implemented those standards.
Yeah. It's always quite interesting, actually. As part of the marketing team, we put a lot of case studies up, customer case studies on our website. And it's lovely. Obviously, you get back all the information from them and you create the case study. And it's very interesting to hear their individual stories as why they decided to have a particular ISO, whether it helped their business out in the short term and the long term, what their reasons were for it and how it's benefited them. So it's always quite an eye opener. It's quite interesting to read those things.
I know, and normally when organizations start with implementation, they have a few benefits in mind, and then within a few weeks, they say, "Oh, but there's many more benefits from ISO."
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. For me, when I'm asked which is probably the greatest benefit from an ISO standard, I'm not saying that, for instance, that would be the systematic approach or stakeholders' trust or whatever. These are good benefits. In my opinion, it's a personal opinion, the best benefits from an ISO implementation and certification actually is its certification for a very
Yes.
simple reason. Once you get into the implementation, you do it, you start improving your system, we also invite an independent third body to certify it, to look at it and see, oh yeah, this system is built up in conformity with the standard, or it
Yeah.
may need an improvement to be certified with in conformity with the standard. But the great thing about these certifications is actually the fact that they happen on an annual basis.
Yes.
So we are obliged to improve, continually improve what we do, because there's going to be someone coming and saying, okay, let's have a look at it.
Yeah.
How did it do all that last past year?
Yeah.
So we continually improve because we enter into this dynamic continual
Yeah.
improvement.
Yeah.
And there's so many other benefits. So within the supply chain, within legal compliance, being able to quickly adapt to market trends, industrial trends, sectorial trends, etc. So please talk to us, and we can assess and advise further. Caroline, I think that you have a list that your team prepared.
Yeah. I
Can we?
am. Yeah, there's quite a few here. So I'll go from the top, second from the top, I think. I think we've already answered one or two. So the next one is, do I get more business if I have ISO?
Well, because you have ISO, no one is going to appear on your door knocking on saying, look, you've got ISO, so here you have more business. We need to still try to get more business on our own, obviously. However, as I've mentioned already, when we work with the other organizations, and we can give assurance to our customers that we work always considering their best interests, and we are customer focused, and we are environmentally friendly, and we know energy efficiency. This elevates our image, and organizations, our customers, are keener to work with us.
Mm.
So at the end of the day, we do get more business if we have ISO, but not because of the ISO itself, but because you learn how to improve our operations.
Yeah. I can imagine that means a lot to a lot of businesses in this day and age as well, when we're so much more aware of many different things. I think it's a prerequisite almost, isn't it, really, to
Yes,
be more
yes.
sustainable, to it's
Uh, Customers need to be sure that we're sustainable, that we
mm,
have their best interest in mind,
yeah.
that we work well, and people working with us, for us, are appreciated.
Mm,
They work in very good conditions. So
yes.
there is no discrimination. There is nothing that could somehow um, cause harm.
Mm,
So the better we operate, the more opportunity we
yeah.
get to grow
ab-
our business.
Absolutely. I've got another question. Shall I put that one up?
Yes, please.
um how much does it cost? The big question.
It's a very difficult question. Thank you for asking. Basically, because it depends on quite a lot of things, starting with which standard we'll be going with, how big our organization is. Some standards can be implemented within a part of the organization or process. Other standards need to be implemented in the whole organization, such as. So it very much depends on several factors. But again, talk to us, because I'm sure that you will be really surprised to know that actually you'll be saving money if you implement ISO standards for several reasons. Let's start with legal compliance. Uh, ISO standards generally help organizations stay on top of their contractual, regulatory, legal requirements. So it prepares the organization for every new requirement from that perspective. So we are more unlikely to get fined if we
Mm,
do something wrongly. So staying on top of our obligations,
yeah.
legal, contractual, helps a lot. Staying on top of our environmental obligations save money. You avoid quite effectively getting into environmental trouble, or with energy efficiency. So ameliorating our ratio, our efficiency, actually literally saves money, and we're very mm, vulnerable in these days. We've been vulnerable for the last few months, and still will be for several more, unfortunately. So we can appreciate the help ISO 50001 gives us, the support it gives us
Mm,
to ameliorate our current situation. So yes, have a look at the standards, talk to us or your team, if you have an internal team, or your trusted assessors. And you'll be surprised. It is not a cost, it's an investment. On top of that, I'm very pleased to confirm that there is the opportunity for R&D tax credits with ISO standard in the US. So we might be able to point you in the right direction as well with R&D tax credits. This said, uh, it is a good investment.
yeah, it sounds like it really does. um I will put the next one up. Do I need to implement ISO 9001 before implementing any other ISO standards?
Well, the short answer is that you don't. Traditionally, organizations implement 9001, and there is a very simple reason for this one. ISO 9001 has been with us since 1987, 35 years now. So the recipe standards are quite recent if compared to ISO 9001. So organizations have become um, more aware of the need of ISO 9001, and it has been for so long with us. So logically, this is their first choice. This is what they've heard speaking about. So it rings a bell. However, because of the ISO standard structure, always the same 10 clauses. That's exactly the same Annex SL. It is called the Annex SL. It allows organizations to start with one standard, add other standards on top of that, integrate them or add them, depends on the organization. Start with a different standard, and then if they need, add 9001 on top of that. Make different combinations, again, depending on their needs. Something very interesting with startups in Europe. We have registered quite a lot of interest from a kind, very typical sector that would be startups working with blockchain technology. Uh, they have huge interest in 27001, which is information security. They have no experience with 9001 at all. They go directly for information security and they implement it very well.
Wow.
So it depends on the need, actually.
Yeah.
Again, talk to us and we'll assess and advise. You don't need 9001, but if you have it, it helps a lot. Why? Because if you have it and it is operational, you are aware of how important ISO standards are. You know how to communicate, you know how to train your people, you already have policies, you already have objectives, you already have so many things. Most importantly, you have the right mindset. So very
Yeah.
helpful, not compulsory.
And the next one, how do ISO standards work?
Thank you for the question. Okay, again, the ISO standards, after being designed and published by the ISO, come to us and they work in a very, very simple way. Actually, it's a good thing because the principle is really simple and simple things work. ISO standards um, are based on a very, very short rule. Do what you say and say what you do. Very simple and common sense. However, many organizations, although they do what they say, sometimes forget to say what they do. And this is where the organizations may fail. The ISO standards kind of make us say what we do with another very simple mechanism, the so-called Deming cycle, which consists in 4 very simple steps. Plan or plan what exactly we want to do. Next step, do it the way we have planned it. Step 3, double check. Check what has been done. Verify it.
Yeah.
And when you verify it, if on the one hand we detect any deviations from what has been planned, or B, any opportunities for improvement, we act upon those. How? Planning, doing what we planned for, checking how it has been done, and again, acting upon A. any deviations or be any opportunities for improvement. So this is in a nutshell, how ISO standards work.
Very good. Next one. How long does it take?
Straight to the point again. And I apologize, but I should avoid a straight answer again because please believe me, it depends. And
Mm.
again, it is going to depend upon standard. Some standards require more time, other standards less time. It depends on how big your organization might be. It depends, on top of that, on how committed your organization might be. So we're here as assessors to make it easy for you. So I'm not saying that you call us and tomorrow we'll have a solution for you. No, that's not quite how it works. But we're well trained. We've been on the market for nearly 30 years now, nearly as long as ISO 9001. So we're going to assess and advise. Um, Depends again on the standards, on the organization, for those standards that can be implemented partially within a department or for a process. Depends on the boundaries of the standards, the scope of the standards. So I am not willing to commit to any timetables. However, if you go us, you might be surprised to hear the answer after we've conducted a quick meeting with you.
Yeah, I guess there's so many variables, isn't there? It's so
Very
hard to anticipate how long these things take. And
Yeah,
yeah,
it's actually quite difficult because honestly, we're well prepared to implement standards with our customers. We
yeah,
have this famous and very well designed methodology. However, our customers, when informed about what has been done, they need to check it.
yes,
And depending on how quickly they come back to us, we can resume our work.
yes,
So if when I'm implementing, I always tell my customers that I'd like them to be in touch with me at least once per week, even if it is for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, just
yeah,
to let me know if there are any issues for me to be able to
yeah.
help them out and make it easy for them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, good communication is vital, really, isn't it, from both sides? So, and there's another question.
Okay.
Which are the standards currently in higher demand and why?
Okay, this is a nice question as well. Thank you. It depends on the territory. We have detected that in the US, aside from 9001, which is by far the most requested standard, there is huge interest for 27,001 information security, 45,001, which is occupational health and safety, and currently 50,001. 9001 because your organizations have always been very customer focused. So you as people excel in customer service.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
this is something those organizations do by default. Then with 45,001, we discovered that many organizations use clause 5 actually to make sure that the stakeholders understand, see the fact that those organizations operate under best practice with regards to equal opportunities, making the workplace a safer place for everyone, etc.,
Mhm.
etc. With 27,001, that would be information security. We are all very concerned about security, so this is only logical for organizations to manifest so much interest in that standard. And 50,001, I think that it goes without saying anything. We've been seeing you and I, Caroline, London in fire this afternoon.
There are
Uh,
so many fires around Europe and the UK at the moment. It's very scary.
it's scary. So
Mm.
energy efficiency is by default the one of the I was about to say hottest standard, but the word hot is not exactly um,
Yeah.
the appropriate word.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be sensible if I used it, I'm
Yeah.
afraid.
Yeah. We talked about customer service. I've just seen that, Jay hasn't been too well, so he
Yeah.
was unable to attend the session today. He's actually posted some comments on LinkedIn. Do you want me to bring those up on the screen? Have you got
Yes,
time for them
please.
today?
Uh,
Okay.
I think that our colleagues will understand the situation. I have a meeting with you as managers after the session, but they will be waiting for me. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll put them up on the screen, but bless him, he's obviously, although not unwell, he's been listening in and he's offered some extra questions. So I'll put them up on the screen
Brilliant.
now.
Okay. Thank you, Jay. I hope I will see you in a few minutes and we can discuss further this question. Thank you. It's a very good one. Uh, let's bring it back. ISO standards actually allow us to be on top of our regulatory requirements because they have specific clauses, most of them, uh, which allow us to build up reliable mechanisms to detect whatever a regulator might ask us to do and on time to be able to comply with requirements. So between standards and regulations, we have to make a difference. Um, we comply with regulations and laws by default. We can't get certified, so this is a law can't be certified, a regulation can't be certified. A standard can, however, be certified. So the standard, if the regulations, to put it more simpler, if the regulations tell us what we need to do, ISO standards help us identify how to do it and on time. So I'm afraid we're running out of time, Caroline. So we
Yeah.
should probably thank our attendees and invite them to come back to the next session
Yeah.
in August.
Yes, absolutely. And it was a good session. Yeah, I always love listening to them because, as you know, I do the background tech. So it's a bit odd to appear on screen, but I've enjoyed asking you the questions that you sent through. So yeah, I think it was a good session, Maria.
Thank you very much, Caroline. Always pleasure working with you. Have a
And you.
lovely evening,
And
and
you.
ladies and gentlemen, have a lovely day in the US.
Bye.
Bye.